From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon and welcome to your MTN Noon News on this Wednesday. Good to be with you. I'm Don Hudson. Let's get right to our top story. We're taking another look at the right to die debate in Montana, which currently operates in kind of a gray area here in the state. A Northwest Montana lawmaker wants to remove protections to doctors who help patients take their own lives. The argument actually stems from a Supreme Court case that's centered around a Billings truck driver. Our Andrea Lutz introduces us to his daughter, who's had to live with this tragedy not once, but twice.
You know, he liked to hunt and fish.
Leslie Muchler watched her dad suffer for years.
The treatment wasn't working. He was miserable and just was ready to be done.
The strong family man from Billings was diagnosed with leukemia when he was 76.
He at one point had talked about buying a gun. And he even told my sister that he had done it and he was thinking about killing himself.
He was named as a plaintiff in a monumental state Supreme Court ruling, which allows doctors to use consent as a defense in homicide when giving end-of-life medication to terminally ill patients.
It was approached from a constitutional thing, that we had a right as Montanans in our Constitution to die with dignity, have that relationship with our doctors, and ask for the medication.
Leslie says the day that ruling came down, her dad died, never getting the chance to use the medication himself.
He stayed in it just because he was hoping that somebody else might be able to use it down the road.
Turns out there was. His grandson, TJ.
Supreme Court ruled in 2009, and then in 2015, TJ had his first bout of pancreatitis.
Leslie watched again as cancer took its toll on her firstborn son.
You know, they're not choosing to die. They are dying. They're just choosing how much suffering they want to be put through.
Turns out her father's fight for the right to die would give TJ that choice as he battled stage 4 pancreatic cancer.
He was in hospice. You know, they gave him all kinds of medication. It just didn't control all the symptoms. You know, sometimes the disease is too far gone. And so I feel like I got a lot of extra time with him because he had control of it.
Montana lacks concrete numbers for how many people use medical aid in dying.
There's a lot of misinformation out there about this issue.
It's why Senator Carl Glimm wants to define it.
There's a lot of proponents that will tell people it's legal, but it actually isn't.
He says his bill, which is now before lawmakers, prevents coercion or abuse in end-of-life decisions.
The public policy for the state of Montana needs to be that this shouldn't be a practice. We need to send a clear and consistent message that suicide isn't the way out.
In fact, a lot of
Leslie is again fighting the bill.
I don't feel like the legislature should be able to decide when our suffering is enough.
And agrees the issue should be more defined, hoping to move it from a legal gray area and into the light.
I would really like to see this be put on the ballot and put it before the people of Montana and let them decide if this is what they'd like to be doing.
In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
Lawmakers are set to take up the issue again sometime next week. We, of course, will keep you posted on its progress.
On this Wednesday, a little bit quieter weather for our state capital. As you can see, we don't have the snowflakes flying through the image like we did yesterday. Even the anemometer there on the top of that building, not moving like it was yesterday. Had some early morning snow. Also had a little bit of rain shower activity around Missoula just a little while ago. Both Helena and Missoula, 40 degrees right now. Light snow in the mining city, only 33. And we also have more snow flying through the air in Bozeman, where it's 34 degrees in the home of the Bobcats. Then we head to Billings. We had some mixes of snow melting over to rain earlier, starting to clear out a little bit, but still some rain showers north of the city. More changes are coming. I'll have your 7-day forecast coming up.
Taking a leading look at today's headlines for you, the Billings Police Department investigating a death in the Heights area. Officers were originally called to a walking path behind Anacapa Lane for the report of a sick or maybe injured person. When arriving on the scene, they found the victim, but life-saving measures were unsuccessful. Billings police say they are investigating but did not release any other details. They do say there is no risk to the public. The brother of the man who shot a Yellowstone National Park ranger and then turned the gun on himself now wants the government to sell his brother's firearms. 28-year-old Samson Fusner was killed by park rangers on July 4th last year after shooting a ranger during what authorities say was a terror attack. The federal government is seeking forfeiture of items belonging to the man at the time of his death, alleging that he actually planned to carry out a mass shooting and spewed racist views before the attack. Well, his brother, Noah, is asking that the guns be sold and the money be donated to the injured ranger, and the rest of the items then returned to the family to pay for the cost of his brother's cremation. Former Senate President Jason Ellsworth has been banned from the Senate floor for life and removed from all committees for his handling of a state contract. The punishment comes a week after senators initially deadlocked on whether to expel Ellsworth from the Senate or censure him. Ellsworth, a Republican from Hamilton, was investigated by the Senate Ethics Committee over his approval of a contract with a longtime business associate and whether he had properly disclosed his ties to the contractor. Despite being banned from the floor, he will still be able to vote this session. Ellsworth has denied any wrongdoing. Now to Gallatin County, where 2 people are dead after a multi-vehicle crash that happened yesterday on Highway 191 near Four Corners. Now, it isn't the first time we've reported deadly crashes on that stretch of highway between Four Corners and the mouth of Gallatin Canyon. MTN's Heaven Vaughn spoke with law enforcement and people who work in that area about the hazards of this well-traveled road.
A fatal accident that occurred on Highway 191 early Tuesday morning near Four Corners is bringing to the forefront the hazards of driving on this road.
When I was coming to work this morning, oh, please, Lord, don't let it be one of our families or our or teachers.
Karen Cook is a preschool teacher at Quail Hollow School off of 191. She speaks to the hazards they experience daily.
This intersection, it's so dangerous.
According to details released by Montana Highway Patrol, 2 people died and 2 more were injured after a GMC truck going southbound towards Big Sky lost control on the icy roads and was struck by a Dodge truck headed northbound. The GMC came to rest in a field nearby where it caught fire, killing 2 of the 3 passengers. The 3rd GMC passenger and driver of the 2nd Dodge truck were taken to the hospital. MHP says the accident is still under investigation.
The road from Four Corners to Big Sky is such a funny section of road.
Sergeant Daniel Hayden is one of the supervisors for the Gallatin County Sheriff's Office for the area surrounding Big Sky and West Yellowstone. He says that stretch of road poses a variety of hazards, especially during winter conditions.
With it being the end of winter, we've had such a big impact from the freeze-thaw cycle, and so there's a lot of extra ruts and potholes and other things like that that make for new and changing hazards that we need to be ready for.
Hayden says speeding, driving under the influence, or with distractions are some of the main factors that contribute to accidents in this area. And as Bozeman and Big Sky continue to grow, increased traffic has only made these issues more prominent.
Especially around 5:30, the busiest times, the most hectic times, it is almost impossible to get out of here, especially in the winter time. Sometimes even to pull out, you can be sitting here for 10 or 15 minutes to have an opportunity to get out.
It's pretty nonstop. It's just car after car after car. There's not a lot of opportunity for people trying to get in. Exactly. Here's a good gap. Here we go. Karen says that they're constantly worried for the parents and children they serve getting here safely, only further exasperated by speeding cars.
If you're 10 miles under the speed limit going through the canyon, you're adding maybe 3 or 4 minutes to your commute. Just accept it, put on some music. They are going to be able to get there in almost the same amount of time, and they're going to have such a safer drive.
Hayden encourages people on 191 to drive responsibly and report any incidents that may pose a risk to other drivers. In Four Corners, Heaven Van, MTN News.
Montana's public schools will be receiving more than $52 million in additional funding. Governor Greg Gianforte signed a House bill into law yesterday applying inflationary adjustments to school funding formula components. Now, the governor's office requested the legislation, and the money they say will benefit a variety of things in schools, including special education and Indian education programs, along with teachers' salaries.
It's been tough. Staff increases and pay alone eat up a pretty good portion of the budget. Just trying to keep up with those negotiated increases for pay would have probably put us in a situation where we were going to have to cut some staff just to make ends meet.
The law, which was sponsored by Republican David Bede, will go into effect on July 1st of this year.